Hello, night traveler. This is Linus, your dream weaver from Magical Nights. Wrap yourself in your blanket and let your imagination flow freely as we venture into the enchanted paths of magical and fantastic tales. Tonight, we journey with Elise, a young archaeologist who finds a secret map leading her on a dangerous quest for a legendary treasure. Facing supernatural forces, she forms unexpected alliances and battles dark enemies. Mystical beings like fairies, Cernunos, and Morrigan herself cross her path, offering powers and challenges. Will Elise uncover ancient secrets and protect her ancestral legacy? Ready to dream? In the ancient lands of air, where the dense morning mist envelopes green hills and clear rivers snake through ancestral forests, there existed a realm filled with mysteries and magic. The Celtic culture, rich in traditions and legends, flourished among these enchanted landscapes. Wise druids performed sacred rituals in stone circles where the earth's energy seemed to converge palpably, and bards sang songs of heroes and gods around fires, keeping the stories of the past alive. Villagers lived in harmony with nature, respecting the spirits of the woods and rivers, celebrating the changing seasons with vibrant and meaningful festivals. The wheel of the year turned in a perpetual cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, reflected in celebrations like Samhain, Imbolc, Beltane, and Lughnasadh. Signs of the ancients were everywhere: standing stones, ancient tombs, and trees revered as the dwelling places of gods. In the village of Dunluce, located on the shores of a tranquil lake, life followed the rhythm of Celtic traditions. Stone and wooden houses with thatched roofs were surrounded by gardens where medicinal herbs and sacred flowers grew abundantly. Children ran freely through the fields, learning early the secrets of plants and the stories of past heroes. The inhabitants of Dunluce believed in the constant presence of mystical beings, like the fairies who danced in mushroom circles at dawn and the tree spirits. They left offerings of milk and honey at their doorsteps, in gratitude and respect for these invisible entities. Nights were lit by torches and fires, and the starry sky seemed like a magical cloak covering the land. In this scene of enchantment and beauty, where the veil between the world of the living and the world of spirits was thin, Elise's story began. It was a land where myths came to life and the winds whispered forgotten secrets. Elise, a young archaeologist, was about to embark on a journey that would lead her to confront supernatural forces and protect her world from ancient dangers. In the heart of Era's forests, the Circle of Morrigan stood majestically, a ring of ancient stones emanating a palpable energy. The ancients said that there, on the darkest nights, the goddess Morrigan herself manifested to those who sought wisdom and protection. The circle was a sacred place where druids performed rituals and villagers connected with the spiritual world. Elise had always been fascinated by this place. Since childhood, she accompanied her grandfather, Sean, a renowned archaeologist, on his expeditions to the Circle of Morrigan. He told her stories about ancient Celtic legends, heroes and gods, and the mysteries surrounding that stone circle. It was there that Elise developed her passion for archaeology and the study of ancient Celtic traditions. Now an adult, Elise dedicated her life to uncovering the secrets of the past. Graduating in archaeology and specializing in Celtic culture, she continued her grandfather's legacy, exploring archaeological sites and deciphering ancient symbols. Her dedication and knowledge made her respected in the academic community, but she knew there was still much to discover. Elise O'Donnell, a young woman with reddish-brown hair and green eyes like the depths of Irish forests, had dedicated her life to studying Celtic archaeology. Raised by her grandparents in a small village, she grew up hearing stories about mythical heroes and enchanted artifacts. Her grandfather, Sean, was a renowned archaeologist who sparked her passion for unraveling the mysteries of the past. From an early age, Elise accompanied her grandfather on his expeditions through Ireland's fields and forests, learning to identify ancient symbols and interpret legends passed down through generations. Her intelligence and curiosity made her stand out among her peers, and she quickly became an expert in Celtic history. By the age of 25, Elise had published numerous articles on her discoveries and was respected in the academic community. Despite her promising career, Elise felt an emptiness she couldn't fill. The loss of her grandparents, who died in a tragic accident, left a deep mark on her heart. She continued her research, believing that somehow finding answers about the past would help her cope with the pain of their loss. Archaeology had become not just her profession, but also a way to honor their memory. Elise lived in a small cabin near Dunluce, surrounded by ancient books, maps, and artifacts she had collected over the years. Her favorite place was a circle of ancient stones known as the Circle of Morrigan, where she spent hours studying and meditating. It was said that the circle was a portal to other worlds, and Elise believed that there she could find clues about the mysteries she still longed to uncover. One day, while exploring a cave near the Circle of Morrigan, Elise found a stone carved with symbols she had never seen before. Intrigued, she decided to take the stone home and study it more closely. As she investigated the symbols, she realized it was an ancient map indicating the location of a legendary treasure lost for millennia. It was the opportunity she had been waiting for, a great discovery that could change her life and bring new meaning to her existence. Elise decided to follow the map's clues, determined to find the treasure and uncover its secrets. Little did she know that this journey would lead her to face supernatural forces and protect not only her world but also her ancestors' legacy. With courage and determination, Elise was about to embark on the greatest adventure of her life. The night before she set off, Elise sat by the fire in her cabin, watching the dancing flames. She felt anxious but also determined. The stories she had heard as a child, the legends about hidden treasures and mystical forces, now seemed more real than ever. She knew the journey would not be easy, but she was ready to face any challenge that came her way. The next morning, Elise woke up with a sense of excitement and renewed purpose. The first light of dawn filtered through her cabin windows, and the birdsong announced a new day. She quickly got up, feeling the adrenaline pulse through her veins. She knew that what she was about to do could change everything. She reviewed the stone-etched map one more time, studying every detail and memorizing the route. The journey would take her through dense forests, deep valleys, and unknown hills to a place no human had set foot in for millennia. She gathered her gear, a sturdy backpack, a lantern, ropes, excavation tools, and, of course, her notebook. She dressed in practical clothes suitable for exploration and put on her hiking boots. Before leaving, Elise went to the Circle of Morrigan, as she always did before a new expedition. Sitting in the center of the circle, she closed her eyes and took a deep breath, feeling the energy of the place envelop her body. She said a brief prayer to the Celtic gods, asking for protection and guidance. She felt a gentle breeze touch her face, as if the ancient spirits were blessing her. With the map secure in her backpack, Elise began her walk, leaving behind the cabin she called home. The initial path was familiar, but she soon found herself in unknown territories. The tall, dense trees cast long, mysterious shadows, and the sound of nature was almost hypnotic. Each step took her deeper into the heart of the Celtic land, where legend and reality intertwined. After hours of walking, Elise reached an old oak tree marked on the map as a crucial reference point. There, she found signs that she was not alone. Recent footprints and remnants of a campfire indicated that someone had been there recently. Her heart raced. Who else could be following the same map? And what were their intentions? Determined to move forward, Elise continued her journey, now more cautiously. The terrain became increasingly challenging, with slippery rocks and icy streams. But her determination was unwavering. She felt that each obstacle overcome brought her closer to her goal. As night fell, Elise found a natural shelter among the rocks of a cliff. She lit a small fire and nestled into her sleeping bag. As the flames cast dancing shadows on the rocky walls, she wondered what awaited her at the end of the journey. She closed her eyes, letting the day's exhaustion envelop her, and fell asleep with the hope that the gods were guiding her steps. Dawn brought with it a dense fog that hung over the landscape like an ethereal veil. Elise woke up to the sound of birds and the distant murmur of a stream. After a quick breakfast, she resumed her journey, determined to find the location indicated on the map. With each step, she felt more connected to the land and the ancients who had traced that path. As she advanced, the terrain became more rugged and treacherous. Tree roots intertwined underfoot, and loose rocks made walking difficult. At one point, while crossing a stream on a fallen tree trunk, Elise slipped and fell into the icy water. Shivering with cold, she quickly got up and continued, determined not to let a minor setback divert her from her goal. Soon after, she encountered a deep ravine that was not marked on the map. Crossing it would be dangerous, but there was no other option. Elise used her ropes and climbing tools to carefully descend the rocky face, and after much effort, she managed to cross to the other side. Her body ached and her muscles were exhausted, but she refused to give up. As she recovered from the effort, Elise heard voices in the distance. Hidden behind a rock, she watched a group of men arguing animatedly. They seemed to be looking for something or someone. Elise's heart raced as she realized they too must be after the treasure. Determined not to be discovered, she waited until the men moved away and continued her journey with even more caution. Later, at dusk, Elise found an ancient stone tomb partially covered by moss and vegetation. She decided to investigate, hoping to find clues that would help her in her quest. As she examined the inscriptions on the stone, she felt a strange presence around her. The air grew colder, and a dense mist began to form. She knew she was entering a territory where the supernatural and the real intersected. Suddenly, an ethereal figure appeared before her, a woman with long hair and glowing eyes, dressed in ancient clothes. Elise recognized the figure from the legends her grandfather had told, Morgan, the goddess of war and death. The apparition did not seem threatening, but her presence was imposing. Morgan spoke in a soft but firm tone, warning Elise of the dangers she would face and offering her protection. Feeling simultaneously scared and strengthened, Elise thanked the goddess and promised to honor her legacy. Morgan disappeared into the mist, leaving Elise with a renewed sense of purpose. She knew the journey would be difficult, but she also knew she was not alone. The ancient spirits guided her, and she was determined to complete her mission. On the third day of her journey, Elise found a path leading to a sunlit clearing. Entering the clearing, she felt a different, almost magical energy enveloping her. In the center of the clearing was a circle of glowing mushrooms, and within the circle, small winged creatures with translucent, shimmering wings danced. Elise knew immediately that she was in the presence of fairies. The fairies, noticing Elise's presence, paused their dance and floated towards her, curious. Elise knelt respectfully and explained her mission, telling them about the ancient map and the legendary treasure she sought. The fairies, initially wary, felt the sincerity in her words and decided to help her. One of the fairies, named Ain, flew to Elise and gave her a small glowing stone, explaining that it would light her way in the dark and reveal what was hidden. Elise thanked them warmly and put the stone in her pocket, grateful for the unexpected help. The fairies returned to their dance, and Elise continued her journey, now with a new magical ally. As she continued on her way, Elise encountered other mythical beings. One day, while walking through a dense forest, she came across a huge stag with intelligent eyes and majestic antlers. The stag, which she recognized as the great Cernunnos, the guardian of the woods, seemed to be waiting for her. He guided her along a secret path, leading her to a hidden cave where ancient symbols were carved on the walls. Elise spent hours studying the symbols, which seemed to tell a story of war and redemption. She made detailed notes in her diary, feeling that she was closer to uncovering the treasure's mystery. Cernunnos watched silently, ensuring she was on the right path. When Elise finished, the stag bowed in farewell and disappeared into the trees. That night, as Elise rested by a campfire, she was surprised by a soft glow around her. From within the fire emerged an ethereal figure, a woman with long silver hair and star-like eyes. It was Bridget, the goddess of healing, poetry, and craftsmanship. With a soft, melodic voice, Bridget spoke about the importance of Elise's mission and gave her a protective amulet, a small silver medallion engraved with ancient runes. Elise thanked her deeply, feeling strengthened by the goddess's blessing. Bridget disappeared as mysteriously as she had appeared, and Elise gazed at the amulet in her hands. She knew the journey would still be difficult, but now she had the god's support. During her travels, Elise also found a sacred well guarded by a mysterious old woman who introduced herself as Matcha, one of the triad of warrior goddesses. Matcha, with her graying hair and piercing gaze, offered her a cup of crystal clear water. Elise drank, feeling a wave of energy course through her body, healing her wounds and revitalizing her spirit. Matcha revealed that the well's water was a gift from the gods, meant to strengthen those who were worthy. With each encounter, Elise felt more connected to the mystical world around her. The legends she had heard in her childhood now manifested before her eyes, and she understood the depth and complexity of Celtic culture in a way she had never imagined. The fairies' protection, Cernoz's guidance, Bridget's blessing, and Matcha's healing were clear signs that her mission had a greater purpose. Elise continued her journey, crossing enchanted forests, rugged mountains, and hidden valleys. Each step brought her closer to the final destination indicated on the map. She felt watched by invisible eyes, but was not afraid. The constant presence of mystical beings comforted and encouraged her to move forward. On a starry night, while resting in a clearing, Elise had a vivid dream. In it, she saw a grand stone hall, lit by torches and decorated with tapestries telling ancient stories. In the center of the hall was a golden throne where Morrigan, the goddess she had previously met, sat. Morrigan smiled at Elise and told her she was on the right path, but would still face great challenges before reaching her goal. Upon waking, Elise felt invigorated and determined to continue. She knew time was running out and needed to find the treasure before it fell into the wrong hands. With the help of the mystical beings and the god's blessing, she was ready to face any obstacle that came her way. On the 10th day of her journey, Elise arrived at an open plain where an imposing stone fortress stood against the blue sky. It was a place not marked on any modern map, a remnant of ancient and forgotten times. The air around it seemed to vibrate with a powerful and ancient energy. Elise knew she had reached a crucial point in her journey. As she approached the fortress entrance, a sense of unease gripped her. She felt watched, as if invisible eyes were following her every step. However, she continued forward, determined to uncover the secrets that place held. Upon entering the courtyard, she was greeted by an eerie silence, interrupted only by the sound of her footsteps echoing off the stone walls. Suddenly, the silence was broken by a sharp cry. Elise turned quickly to see a dark figure emerge from the shadows. It was an imposing warrior with black armor and glowing red eyes. He wielded a long, sharp sword that seemed to pulse with malevolent energy. Elise knew immediately she was facing a supernatural guardian, a crucial test of her courage and determination. The warrior advanced without hesitation, and Elise quickly drew her own sword, a gift from her grandfather. The blades clashed with a shrill sound, and the battle began. Elise felt the accumulated fatigue in her body, but knew she couldn't give up. Every blow from the warrior was precise and deadly, and she had to use all her agility and intelligence to dodge and counterattack. The battle seemed to last an eternity. The supernatural warrior was relentless, and Elise felt her strength waning with each moment. But in her heart, a flame of determination burned intensely. She remembered Morrigan's words and the promise of protection the goddess had made. She remembered her grandparents' faces and the mission she had undertaken in their name. In a moment of clarity, Elise saw an opening in the warrior's defense. With a quick and precise move, she delivered a decisive blow, hitting the weak point in the armor. The warrior let out a final scream and fell to the ground, his sword slipping from his hands. Elise stood, panting but victorious. She felt the weight of the battle in her body, but also the euphoria of victory. As night fell, Elise found shelter inside the fortress and lit a fire to warm herself. As she watched the dancing flames, she reflected on the battle and what lay ahead. She knew that this was only one of many tests she would face, but she felt stronger and more confident than ever. That night, she had another vivid dream. Morrigan appeared again, this time accompanied by Bridget and Matcha. The goddesses spoke in unison, congratulating Elise on her courage and determination. They told her she was on the right path, but that the true test was yet to come. Elise woke with the goddesses' words echoing in her mind, feeling more determined than ever to complete her mission. With dawn, Elise continued her journey, knowing that each step brought her closer to the treasure and the conclusion of her mission. The stone fortress receded, but the battle's mark remained in her memory. She knew she would face more challenges and dangers, but also knew she had the strength and courage to overcome them. Days later, while crossing an isolated valley, Elise encountered a small group of travelers. They were camped beside a river, their clothes and equipment indicating they were also explorers. Initially, Elise hesitated to approach, but curiosity and the need for company encouraged her to introduce herself. The group's leader was a tall, sturdy man named Fergus. He welcomed her with a friendly smile and invited her to join them around the campfire. As they talked, Elise discovered that Fergus and his companions, Maeve and Connell, were guardians of an ancient Celtic clan dedicated to protecting their ancestors' secrets and treasures. Sharing her story and mission, Elise felt an immediate connection with the guardians. They understood the importance of what she was seeking and decided to join forces. Fergus explained that they knew the region well and could guide her through safe paths and offer protection against the dangers they would face. In the following days, Elise and the Guardians traveled together, facing challenges and overcoming obstacles. The company of her new allies brought a sense of camaraderie and hope. Maeve, a skilled healer, tended to Elise's wounds with ancient herbs and potions. Connell, an agile and fearless warrior, trained Elise in combat techniques, strengthening her skills. One starry night, while resting around the campfire, Fergus shared stories of his clan and the legends surrounding the treasures they protected. Elise felt inspired by these stories, realizing her mission was part of a much larger legacy. She was determined to honor this legacy and protect her ancestors' secrets. As they continued their journey, the group found signs that others were also seeking the treasure. Recent footprints, remnants of camps, and battle marks indicated that more dangers lurked. Elise knew they needed to be cautious and strategic to avoid unnecessary confrontations. One afternoon, while crossing a stone bridge over a raging river, they were ambushed by a group of armed men. The ensuing battle was intense and brutal. Elise, Fergus, Maeve, and Connell fought bravely, using their skills and working as a team. The determination and courage of the Guardians were palpable, and Elise felt strengthened by the alliance they had formed. After defeating the attackers, the group continued their journey, now more united than ever. They knew the journey would be long and dangerous, but they were willing to face any challenge together. The Guardians' presence added a new dimension to Elise's mission, and she felt grateful to have them by her side. As they approached the final destination indicated on the map, Elise reflected on the path they had taken. The journey had transformed her in ways she had never imagined. Encounters with mystical beings, battles fought, and alliances formed had shaped her into a fearless warrior ready to face any adversity. With her new allies, Elise was prepared to face the final confrontation and uncover the secrets that awaited in the heart of air. The journey was reaching its climax, and Elise knew each step brought her closer to her destiny and the treasure that could change her world forever. At dawn on the 15th day of the journey, Elise and her allies arrived at the location indicated on the map, a hill covered by an ancient forest. At the top of the hill stood a stone ruin, a remnant of a forgotten time. The energy in the air was dense, almost tangible, and everyone felt a chill run down their spines. Elise knew this was where the treasure was hidden. The group's tension was palpable as they approached the ruin's entrance. Fergus led the way, sword in hand, while Connell and Maeve followed closely behind, alert to any sign of danger. Elise, with Bridget's amulet around her neck, felt ready for whatever came. Entering the ruin, they were greeted by a vast, dark hall, lit only by the faint light filtering through the wall cracks. In the center of the hall, a stone altar was covered in ancient symbols and Celtic runes. Elise recognized some of the symbols, but others were unknown even to her. The feeling of being on the verge of a great discovery filled her with excitement and fear. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoed through the hall. A group of men emerged from the shadows, led by a tall, thin man with a severe expression. It was Cathal, a notorious treasure hunter known for his ruthlessness and cruelty. He and his men were armed and ready to fight. "So, we finally meet, Elise," Cathal said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "I knew you would lead me to the treasure." Elise lifted her head with determination. "You won't get it, Cathal. This treasure belongs to the ancients and must be protected." Cathal laughed, a cold and humorless sound. "We'll see about that. Men, take them." The battle began with fierce intensity. Swords clashed, the sound of metal against metal echoing through the hall. Fergus and Connell fought skillfully and bravely, protecting Elise and Maeve as they retreated to a safe position. Elise knew she had to think quickly to find a way to defeat Cathal and his men. As the battle raged on, Elise noticed something strange about the runes on the altar. They seemed to glow with an inner light, pulsing in rhythm with the battle. She remembered Bridget and Morgan's words in her dreams, saying that the true test was yet to come. She felt that those runes held the key to defeating Cathal. With renewed courage, Elise ran to the altar, dodging enemy blows. She began to recite the words of the runes, which now made sense to her. The ancient words flowed from her mouth with ease, as if engraved in her memory by a higher power. As she recited, a bright light emanated from the runes, filling the hall with a blinding glow. Cathal and his men stopped, disoriented by the light. Fergus, Connell, and Maeve took the opportunity to disarm the remaining enemies. Cathal, seeing his imminent defeat, tried to attack Elise but was stopped by an invisible force field created by the runes. The light from the runes intensified, and Elise felt a powerful energy flow through her. With a final verse, the light exploded in a flash, blinding everyone in the hall. When the light dimmed, Cathal and his men were unconscious on the ground, defeated by the ancient rune's power. Fergus, Connell, and Maeve ran to Elise, who was kneeling by the altar, exhausted but victorious. Maeve helped her stand, offering an encouraging smile. "You did it, Elise. The treasure is safe." Elise looked at the altar, where a small gold box had appeared in place of the glowing runes. Carefully, she opened the box, revealing an ancient amulet and a rolled-up scroll. The amulet was made of pure gold, encrusted with precious stones, and the scroll contained instructions and secrets of the ancient druids, knowledge lost for millennia. Feeling deep gratitude and relief, Elise held the amulet in her hands. She knew this treasure was not just a prize, but a responsibility. With the help of her new allies, she would protect and preserve that knowledge for future generations. The journey back to Dunluce was marked by a sense of victory and renewal. Elise, Fergus, Maeve, and Connell traveled together, sharing stories and reflecting on the challenges they had overcome. The alliance they formed during the journey transformed into a deep and lasting friendship. Upon arriving at the village, they were greeted with joy and admiration by the inhabitants. News of their victory against Cathal and the recovery of the ancient treasure spread quickly, and Elise was hailed as a heroine. But more than the applause and praise, Elise felt an internal satisfaction for fulfilling her mission and honoring her grandparents' legacy. In the following days, Elise worked tirelessly to decipher the scroll and study the amulet. With Maiden Fergus's help, she managed to translate many of the ancient secrets contained in the writings. The Druid's knowledge revealed new healing techniques, protection rituals, and ancestral wisdom that could benefit the entire community. Elise also decided to share her discoveries with the academic community, publishing articles and giving lectures about her journey and the relics she found. Her contributions were widely recognized and respected, and she became an influential figure in Celtic archaeology. But despite her professional success, Elise never forgot the deeper lessons of her journey. She learned about courage, friendship, and the importance of protecting her ancestors' legacy. She understood that the true value of her work lay in preserving ancient wisdom and sharing it with future generations. One night, while gazing at the stars from her cabin's courtyard, Elise felt a familiar presence. Morrigan appeared before her, her gaze full of pride and admiration. "You have fulfilled your mission with bravery and wisdom, Elise. The ancient's legacy is safe thanks to you." Elise bowed her head in respect. "Thank you, Morrigan. I couldn't have done it without the gods' help and my friends." Morrigan smiled. "Always remember that true strength comes from within and the alliances we form along the way. Continue to protect and honor your ancestors' legacy." With these words, Morrigan disappeared into the night, leaving Elise with a sense of peace and accomplishment. She knew her journey was not over, but had just begun. There was much more to discover and protect, and she was ready to face any challenge that came her way. In the following months, Elise continued working with her allies to explore new areas and uncover more secrets from the past. The alliance they formed became a powerful force dedicated to protecting ancestral knowledge and keeping Celtic culture alive. Elise felt more connected to her heritage than ever. Each discovery, each new understanding of ancient traditions was a tribute to her grandparents' legacy and the Druid's wisdom. She knew she was exactly where she should be, doing exactly what she should be doing. Over time, Elise's fame grew, but she never lost her humility and dedication. Whenever she faced a new challenge, she remembered Morrigan's words and the strength she found in her journey. She knew that with courage and friendship, she could overcome any obstacle and continue to protect the world she loved so much. And so, Elise O'Donnell, archaeologist and guardian of Celtic knowledge, continued her mission, guided by ancient spirits and strengthened by the alliances she formed. Her journey was a testament to determination's power and the importance of honoring the past while building a better future. And so, in the enchanted lands of air, where the dense morning mist envelopes green hills and clear rivers snake through ancestral forests, Elise found her place, protecting the ancient secrets and ensuring that Celtic wisdom continued to shine through the ages. Good night and enchanted dreams.